The app that you're going to be working on the most is called a residential app. All these things are called apps, and right here is where the residential app is. Click on it. Now you're in. These are your residential leads. These are all test subjects, so you're not going to see them on your screen, but you will see them on the training video. But here's where you'll see a list of everybody that you've entered in, and you'll see an image of the property or a Google map of the property, what type of property it is. If you've marked how many units, you'll get to see that here, and what the average rents are for the property, you'll get to see that here as well. Let's go ahead and add a brand new lead so you get to see what it looks like. Come in here. Let's call this person Jane Doe. As soon as you add their name, I want you to go ahead and save the lead right away. The method behind that we'll discuss in a little bit, but I want you to go ahead and save it right away. What I want to show you is that as soon as you save this person, let's say somebody called you and they left you a message. Before you call them back, you want to go ahead and save them as a lead in here. As you see, AREIS Lite already went ahead and created a task that says there's a new lead. You need to call them. There are times where you want to enter a lead, but you just don't have time to call them back right away. You just entered the lead. Now the system is going to remind you, you have a new lead, you need to call them. Let's say you are talking to a seller, and let's just go through some basic steps right now. Enter their email account. You can enter as many as you want. Let's enter their phone number. Before we move any further, if your computer is set up with your email accounts properly, you could actually hit send email, and it's going to pop up your email account, and you could send an email directly from within AREIS Lite. Same thing about phones. If you're connected to FaceTime, or if you're connected to Skype, depending on what type of computer operating system you have, you could press a button right here, and the system will call out using that particular program within your account, and it's automatically configured, so that way you don't have to open up any different programs to do all of that stuff. In here, let's go ahead and type in a residential address. This is connected to Google Maps, so while you're typing it in, Google will give you recommendations on what address you want to use. So go ahead and hit enter. You're going to see a Google map of the property right away. It tells you where it's located, and if you want, you could click on it and expand it, and you'll see a Google image of the property, again, right away. So while you're talking to the seller, you're going to see what their house looks like. No jumping back and forth, no telling them, let me call you back. You get a snapshot of what you're working with. Take this with a grain of salt. This is a Google image, so you don't know how updated it's going to be, but it gives you a snapshot, and it lets you work with something rather than not work with anything. Also, while you're talking to the seller, if this property has a Zillow link, it's going to be loaded right here. When you click on it, it's going to open up a new window, and it's going to take you actually to the Zillow page, and you'll see all the information that Zillow has on the property while you're talking to the seller. That's the main thing. So you never have to go away from the program. You never have to hang up on them. It will tell you everything you need to know about the property right there. From this point onwards, this is basically just a seller script. So we're going to go down and start filling in the information. What type of property is it? If it's a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, you could put how many units. We're going to say it's a single family. If they're rented out, you can put the rents right here. We're going to say it's an owner-operated single family. If they have vacancies, you could put that in there. You don't need to for this particular example. Then, let's go from here. It's got 4 beds, 3.5 bath. It's got a 2-car garage. It's 2,000 square feet. There's no pool. The property was built in 1999. The lot size is about 8,000 square feet. Everything that you see here, it's being registered right here. AREIS Lite is keeping track of all your activity, and if you wanted, you can actually come right here and redo anything that you need to. It will give you a time of when the changes were made, so you have a written track of what information was added and when. This is useful if you have a VA. If your VA jumps in and makes changes, you can tell exactly when the changes were made. Alright, so how long have you owned the property? I'm going to fill out generically as possible. We're not going to go too much into details. What's the estimated cost of repairs? 25,000. Here you can actually give a description of the repairs. I'm just going to go ahead and say foundation and roof. It's self-managed property. You're retiring, that's why you're selling it. Your asking price is about 200,000. Is the price flexible? No, it's not. Does the owner have a mortgage? Yes, he does. Then here, if you wanted to add any additional information, like what type of mortgage it is, what kind of interest rate they're paying, anything else that you have that's not covered in your script, you can actually add that in here. Over here, the motivation level. This is honestly just for you to mark down if the seller is actually interested in selling. They might not be interested in selling, or they just want to waste your time. However you want, you can mark that here. This is where the power of AREIS Lite comes into play. The stage lead. Here, you're going to see a list of buttons. This is basically you just trying to keep track of where you stand. Let's say a person calls you and you entered in as much information and you called them and they didn't pick up. You're going to go ahead and click on first attempt. When you do that, if you noticed right here, a task was just created for you automatically that said first attempt was made. Call for second attempt. All the other buttons kind of follow the same routine. You're going to make 3 attempts to call this person. After the 3rd attempt, if they don't pick up, according to us, it's a dead deal. If you weren't able to get in touch with them, or if they haven't responded back to you yet, it's a dead deal. If the person does pick up and it's not a good time to talk, you could press a button and it's going to go ahead and create another task for you that says, go ahead and call the seller back. This was just not a good time. Everything is set for the very next day. The task is right here, so on and so forth. If you need to pull comps, or you just don't have enough time to pull comps right there and there, go ahead and press this button. The system will remind you that you need to pull comps on this property. If you made a verbal offer and you're waiting for the seller to get back to you, again, you can mark it and say a verbal offer has been made. You need to call the seller back. If you send a contract out on the property, same scenario. Contract has been sent, and now you're waiting for the seller to sign it, but you don't want to forget about it. So the system will remind you a contract has been sent that you need to follow up. If the property is under contract, again, exact same thing. You've got a property under contract, you need to go ahead and market it to buyers. The system will remind you that these are things that you need to do. If it's a no deal, you get to see where the no deal happened, how far you got into the process, and then you marked it as a no deal. This way, the system will remind you, these are things that need to happen. Also, if you want to add anything that's not listed here, you can actually add comments over here. By the way, we just clicked on contract. It says property under contract, market to buyers. It's a task assigned for you. You could come in here and write, seller wants $2,000 down, and add that in. Now there's a note there that's going to stay there. These are notes for you, and if you don't want to see all of them, you can just select comments, and you'll see all the comments that you've written down. This is a great way of keeping track of what the seller wants.